Hello friends, this is Martin speaking. I really need your support. Please subscribe to the channel before watching. In this episode, we will discuss 3 very important topics. Each topic is important and interesting, so be sure to watch our episode until the end. Topic number 1. U.S. takes a stand. Will it intervene if North Korea supplies weapons to Russia? Topic number 2. Kim Jong-un's unprecedented support for Russia. What's behind the sacred fight? Topic number 3. Putin's offer to Kim Jong-un. Could Russia help North Korea develop satellites? Topic number 1. The United States has stated that it will take necessary action if North Korea engages in providing weapons to Russia, according to a spokesperson from the State Department. The spokesperson, Matthew Miller, reiterated that any transfer of arms from North Korea to Russia would go against multiple resolutions by the United Nations Security Council, UNSC. During a daily press briefing, Miller emphasized that the U.S. would closely monitor the situation and hold those accountable if needed. This statement came in response to inquiries about a potential arms deal between North Korea and Russia. Currently, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is on a visit to Russia and is expected to hold a meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Wednesday. Jung Pak, the U.S. Deputy Special Envoy for North Korea, suggested on Monday that the Kim-Putin meeting might serve as a potential precursor to signing an arms deal between the two countries. Miller explicitly stated that any arms trade with North Korea would violate multiple UNSC resolutions. He highlighted the U.S. firm stance on this matter, saying, "We have been very clear about what our position is, which is that any transfer of arms from North Korea to Russia would violate multiple United Nations Security Council resolutions." Previously, Russian officials mentioned the possibility of discussing the lifting of sanctions imposed on North Korea during their meetings with Pyongyang, referring to the UNSC sanctions. However, Miller responded with a no when asked if Russia could unilaterally lift these sanctions, stating that Russia cannot take such actions concerning the United Nations Security Council. Regarding the transfer of Iranian funds frozen in South Korean bank accounts, the State Department spokesperson assured that the funds would solely be used for humanitarian purposes under close U.S. oversight. Miller explained that the waivers signed by the Secretary of State were aimed at facilitating the transfer of funds from South Korean accounts. These funds would be initially transferred to special accounts in Europe and eventually to accounts in Qatar, with strict supervision from the U.S. Department of the Treasury to ensure they are utilized for humanitarian transactions. A spokesperson from the Pentagon speculated that the Kim-Putin meeting would likely focus on negotiations regarding an arms deal. In this context, the spokesperson urged North Korea not to provide weapons to Russia, emphasizing that such actions would only escalate the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. In conclusion, the United States has expressed its readiness to take action if North Korea engages in an arms transfer to Russia, thereby violating UNSC resolutions. The U.S. has further clarified its position on Russia's inability to unilaterally lift UNSC sanctions. Additionally, the transfer of Iranian funds from South Korean accounts will be closely monitored and utilized solely for humanitarian purposes. As for the Kim-Putin meeting, the Pentagon foresees discussions primarily centered around potential arms negotiations, urging North Korea not to exacerbate the conflict in Ukraine by providing weapons to Russia. We would like to hear your thoughts on this topic. Please feel free to share your opinions in the comments section below. Topic number 2. Kim Jong-un's unprecedented support for Russia. What's behind the sacred fight? North Korea's Kim Jong-un and Russia's President Vladimir Putin met at the Vostochny Cosmodrome to discuss various matters of mutual interest. The summit between the two leaders lasted for several hours, during which they explored potential areas of cooperation in economic, humanitarian, and regional affairs. The meeting took place against the backdrop of escalating confrontations with the United States, which has led to speculation about potential implications for international sanctions. One possible area of collaboration raised during the meeting was North Korea's interest in procuring military reconnaissance satellites from Russia. Kim Jong-un emphasized the strategic importance of such satellites for bolstering North Korea's nuclear-capable missile capabilities. However, Entering into any agreement regarding arms sales or rocket technology would contravene existing international sanctions. The summit at the Vostochny Cosmodrome was preceded by the launch of 2 ballistic missiles by North Korea, a provocative move that attracted international attention. The missiles were fired toward the sea, but their range was not immediately disclosed. No reports of damages to vessels or aircraft were received. This launch coincided with Kim's presence in Russia and served to showcase North Korea's continued military activities and its leaders' firm control over them. The possibility of military cooperation between North Korea and Russia has been a topic of discussion since Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu's visit to North Korea in July. Some analysts suggest that the recent tour of North Korean weapons factories by Kim Jong-un was intended to assess potential supplies that could be exported to Russia alongside encouraging modernization efforts within North Korea. However, both North Korean and Russian officials have denied any claims of arms sales between the two countries. It is important to note that any potential collaboration or arms agreement between North Korea and Russia would have significant implications for regional stability and global security. These issues warrant careful consideration and assessment. Overall, the meeting between Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin serves as a reminder of the geopolitical dynamics in this region and the shifting alliances that can emerge. The exact outcomes and implications of this summit will unfold in the coming days. It would be interesting to hear the audience's perspectives on this matter and invite them to share their opinions in the comments section. Topic number 3. Putin's offer to Kim Jong-un. Could Russia help North Korea develop satellites? North Korean leader Kim Jong-un met with Russian President Vladimir Putin at the Vostochny Cosmodrome in Russia's Far East, where they engaged in negotiations and one-on-one talks. During the visit, Putin hinted at the possibility of Russia assisting North Korea in their satellite development efforts. They toured the spaceport, particularly focusing on the assembly plant for Russia's Angara and Soyuz 2 space launch vehicles. The meetings lasted for approximately 6 hours, and both leaders expressed their desire to establish a strong strategic cooperation. The meeting between Kim and Putin generated interest as it occurred amidst warnings from the U.S. regarding a potential arms deal between Russia and North Korea. This agreement could provide Russia with artillery and anti-tank weapons in exchange for food and advanced military technology for North Korea. However, such a deal would contradict multiple United Nations Security Council resolutions. The U.S. State Department cautioned North Korea against engaging in such activities and stated that it would take necessary action to hold accountable those involved. During the negotiations, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu and Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, as well as high-ranking officials from North Korea's military and munitions industry, were present, suggesting discussions related to arms transfers and technology exchanges may have taken place. However, it is unlikely that any arms agreements, if reached, would be publicly disclosed due to their questionable legality and the desire of both leaders to appear as statesmen despite their growing international isolation. The Kremlin remarked that it would continue its cooperation with North Korea in sensitive areas while adhering to UN sanctions. Russia previously imposed sanctions on North Korea in 2017 in response to its nuclear and missile programs, but it was suggested that their enforcement has not been strict. Wednesday's meeting could indicate that Russia will maintain its lenient stance or even further relax its enforcement of the sanctions. Kim praised Russia for its defense of sovereignty and security against hegemonic forces, making veiled references to Moscow's actions in Ukraine. He emphasized the deep historical roots of their friendship and stressed that relations with Russia were a top priority for North Korea. Notably, prior to the meeting, North Korea conducted a missile launch, the first of its kind while Kim was out of the country. Relations between Russia and North Korea have strengthened in recent years, with Shoigu's visit to Pyongyang marking a significant milestone. It aimed to convince North Korea to sell artillery ammunition to Russia. Talks on military cooperation between the two countries have continued since the visit, signaling an ongoing engagement. The summit's outcome remains uncertain, and experts speculate that any arms agreements reached would not be widely publicized, given their potential disputed legality. The meeting between Kim and Putin serves the interests of their respective domestic audiences, as both leaders face increasing international isolation. This engagement holds significance for the future of Russian-North Korea relations, and the leaders emphasize their commitment to deepening cooperation. The neutral opinion on this matter is crucial. What are your thoughts on the potential arms deal between Russia and North Korea? Please feel free to share your opinion in the comments.